14 new things banned on cruise ships for 2026. Check before you sail. Cruise lines just quietly banned something so common, most passengers still pack it without knowing, and the fine for it in 2026 is higher than the price of the entire trip. Today, we're diving into the new 2026 cruise ship bans that are catching travelers off guard. From everyday items you'd never suspect, to a rule so controversial it's already sparking arguments at port security. And the last one? It's the policy overhaul everyone will be talking about this year. We're starting with something that thousands of people still try to sneak on board every year, and most of them have no idea it gets flagged instantly. This one catches people off guard. 1. High-density lithium tech that was safe until 2026. Have you ever packed a perfectly normal power bank and wondered why cruise security sometimes stares at it like it's a grenade? In 2026, cruise lines tightened their rules on high-density lithium cells after maritime insurers flagged an unexpected trend. Devices labeled travel safe were overheating during long-haul routes. The risk is microscopic, but on a ship, microscopic matters. One thermal runaway can trigger a full deck shutdown. Here's the punch. Capacity and casing now matter equally. Dual risk. Check your gear for watt-hour labels and metal sleeve casings before you board. When it comes to batteries, clarity prevents chaos. Bring only branded, clearly labeled sub-100 watt-hour lithium tech, no exceptions. 2. Smart trackers using unencrypted, traceable signals. Here's the twist nobody expected. Those tiny Bluetooth trackers meant to protect your luggage? In 2026, cruise lines began banning specific models because their signals weren't encrypted, meaning anyone on board with basic tools could piggyback on the signal and map cabin movement in real time. Data becomes danger. One privacy breach can ripple across a whole deck. Security chiefs now flag devices that transmit continuously without masking protocols, especially certain budget trackers from 2022 to 2024. The short punch. Unencrypted equals unsafe. Period. Only bring tracking devices with end-to-end encryption and a clearly documented stealth mode that limits active beacons while at sea. Now, the next ban is one that almost nobody expects. Even experienced cruisers look shocked when they hear this, because it feels like something that should be totally harmless. 3. Magnetic lock bypass tools and hidden neodymium magnets. Picture this. You're walking down a cabin hallway, and a single fingertip-sized magnet could quietly pop a door latch without leaving a scratch. That's the nightmare scenario cruise security started catching in 2025. Tiny neodymium magnets strong enough to disrupt magnetic locking plates. By 2026, they're fully banned, even the innocent travel versions used for bag straps or phone mounts. One tiny disc can trigger a major security report. The punch is simple. Stealth risk beats size. Always. Bring them on board and staff may confiscate your whole bag while verifying no tampering tools are hidden. Swap magnet-based accessories for adhesive or clip alternatives. Zero magnetic force, zero suspicion. 4. Travel blenders, mini air fryers, and high RPM appliances. I once watched a couple argue with security over a palm-sized blender they swore was only 60 watts. The problem wasn't wattage. It was RPM. In 2026, any compact appliance with a fast spinning blade or heating coil is banned. Dad, because ship electrical grids react differently to high RPM surges and thermal spikes. A tiny air fryer can overload a cabin line faster than a hairdryer. Small device, big hazard. Cruise engineers say these gadgets trigger more electrical trips than any other contraband category. That's telling. Leave every kitchen mini at home. Ships offer blending stations, hot water points, and charging safe outlets for safe alternatives. This next item might seem small, but it created so many problems in 2025 that cruise lines rewrote their policies for 2026. Frequent cruisers didn't think this rule would ever change, but it did. 5. The 2026 crackdown on covert heating coils and fans. If a device heats, glows, or spins faster than your instincts say it should, don't pack it. In 2026, cruise lines quietly expanded their banned list to include micro heating elements. the hidden coils inside compact fans and USB-powered warmers. These coils were never designed for enclosed cabins, and thermal sensors on board catch dozens of overheating warnings each month. One overheated coil can trigger a full corridor alarm. Invisible heat causes visible chaos. The irony? Some look like harmless $10 travel gadgets, yet they push more heat than a curling iron. Stick to cruise-approved fans only. UL listed, low wattage, no heating elements whatsoever. 6. DIY water treatment tools that trip ship sensors. Why would a tiny water purifier be banned when cruise ships literally produce millions of liters of clean water every day? Because DIY filtration gadgets interfere with the ship's gray water sensors when passengers dump concentrated minerals or disinfectants down the drain. In 2026, several ships reported sensor spikes linked back to personal purifiers that altered onboard water chemistry. One mistake can shut down half a deck's plumbing. Systems don't forgive chemical surprises. These gadgets also confuse sanitation logs, creating false contamination alerts. Something no vessel wants mid-ocean. Don't bring any purifier. Cruise water is safer than most city tap. Bottled options are everywhere on board. If you thought the last one was strict, just wait. This next ban shows how seriously cruise lines are taking safety this year. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense once you hear why. 7. High-proof spirits and ghost bottles hidden in luggage. Here's the twist. Cruise lines aren't just banning smuggled alcohol. They're banning specific proof levels now. In 2026, several major lines updated their policies to prohibit ultra-high-proof spirits because they burn hotter and ignite faster, making them a real fire hazard if mishandled. And ghost bottles? Those disguised containers shaped like shampoo, sunscreen, or even protein powder, trigger the strongest penalties yet. Fire plus deception equals zero tolerance. Security scanners now flag density anomalies instantly, so even clever disguises don't stand a chance. Bring only sealed, allowed beverages. Anything hidden or overproof risks confiscation, and sometimes trip delays. 8. Drone models blocked by new maritime flight protocols. Imagine standing on the open deck, watching your drone lift off, only for security to appear before it reaches 10 meters. In 2026, new maritime flight rules blocked entire categories of drones because their GPS modules can't maintain stable geofencing over water. Unstable drones drift, and drifting drones hit funnels, antennas, or restricted airspace that keeps a ship running. A drifting drone is a flying liability. Some brands even push automatic return-to-home modes that glitch over the ocean, sending them straight into dangerous zones. Only bring drones specifically certified for maritime geolocking, and always register with the ship's activity desk. Here's where things get interesting. This next item gets people fined, delayed, and sometimes even denied boarding, all because they misunderstand a very specific rule. 9. Overloaded power bricks and multi-port fire risk chargers. I once saw a passenger proudly unpack a power brick with 12 USB ports, like it was a command center for charging phones. In 2026, cruise lines finally cracked down on these everything chargers because they funnel too much current through a single socket. One surge can spike a cabin circuit and ripple through a whole section of the ship's grid. Small outlet, huge load. Engineers say these bricks cause more fire risk inspections than curling irons and straighteners combined, which should tell you everything. Use only cruise-approved power strips, no surge protectors, no multi-port bricks pulling mixed wattage. 10. Memory storing AI translators with always-on recording. If a device can listen, store, and analyze, security will care. In 2026, cruise lines placed several AI translators on the banned list because they store audio locally and transmit snippets back to cloud servers, even when idle. That means accidental recordings of crew instructions, cabin conversations, and even safety briefings. Privacy risk meets compliance nightmare. When data floats, problems follow. One major line reported a flagged device that had logged 8 hours of ambient sound before embarkation even finished. Only bring translators with a hardware privacy switch and no cloud sync features. Alright, this next one is sneaky. It looks harmless, most people carry it daily, and yet it causes some of the biggest onboard risks. Security catches these constantly. 11. Unregulated medical devices and home therapy gadgets. Have you ever seen those handheld pain relief wands or muscle stimulators that promise instant healing? In 2026, cruise lines started banning specific models because they emit electromagnetic pulses that interfere with cabin sensors, and in a few cases with defibrillator panels stored nearby. It sounds dramatic, but maritime safety teams reported multiple false medical alerts triggered by cheap, untested devices. Little gadget, big consequences. Some also heat up internally without warning, essentially becoming pocket-sized burn risks during long voyages. Bring only FDA or CE cleared medical tools. Anything unregulated will be confiscated instantly at screening. 12. Silent e-cigs designed to evade 2026 smoke sensors. Here's something almost nobody saw coming. It wasn't vaping itself that triggered the crackdown. It was the new silent models designed to dodge smoke detectors. In 2026, multiple cruise lines flagged these ultra-low aerosol e-cigs because they created a new risk: invisible vapor that still activates fire detection micro-lasers in certain cabin types. One passenger's attempt at stealth once set off a deck-wide evacuation drill. Stealth tech invites strict rules. Manufacturers advertise them as cruise safe, but maritime fire engineers strongly disagreed. Only vape in designated areas with allowed devices. Everything else gets confiscated or fined. This is one of the newest bans of 2026, and barely anyone is talking about it yet. But trust me, you do not want to be the person who finds out about this at the terminal. 13. Foldable e-bikes, micro-scooters, and new fire risk mobility rules. Picture trying to roll a compact e-bike down the gangway thinking it's just another travel convenience, only to be stopped instantly. In 2026, cruise lines banned most foldable e-mobility devices because their lithium packs run hotter during charging and have no standardized cutoff systems. A single overheated cell on a ship is a completely different threat than on land. Tight corridors turn small fires into fast ones. Mobility meets risk. Some scooter models even failed thermal tests during simulated sea humidity conditions, which accelerated battery swelling. If it has a motor or lithium pack, leave it home. Ships rent approved e-mobility gear at ports. 14. The most unexpected ban of 2026: cloud-synced smart alarm clocks. I once watched a passenger argue that their little bedside alarm couldn't possibly break any rules. But here's the shocker. In 2026, cruise lines added cloud-synced smart alarm clocks to their banned lists because some models constantly broadcast Wi-Fi handshake requests, even in airplane mode. Those pings interfere with ship mesh networks, which connect medical systems, crew comms, and safety devices. When hundreds of passengers bring them, interference snowballs into delays and false network flags. Tiny gadget, giant digital footprint. Engineers say a single misbehaving clock once slowed an entire deck's signal triangulation. Bring a simple offline travel alarm. Anything connected or cloud-linked is now a problem. When you look at the 2026 rule changes as a whole, a pattern appears. Cruise lines aren't banning items because they want to be strict. They're banning them because the smallest device can cause the biggest chain reaction at sea. Fire risk, data leaks, network interference, lithium instability. It all adds up fast when thousands of people are sharing one floating city. And the real takeaway? The smartest cruisers pack simple. Complexity causes problems. This video is for informational purposes only. It is not professional travel, medical, or financial advice. Always consult qualified experts before making decisions. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.